Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to prove to you guys why Allan Lichtman'S 13 keys prediction is wrong and why they are out of touch with reality. But before we get started, make sure you guys are subscribed as we are approaching 4,000. Click the bell so you don't miss out on my content. Press the like button, share this video as well. Don't forget we do have memberships. You can find links to that in the description section if you aren't interested. Now back to the topic of today's video. Let's review some of the keys that, I think have some issues. First of all, he uses these keys in the wrong way, even though they are pretty good in my opinion, and that is literally the problem. But let's start off with key number 2, as you can see right here, which is no primary contest. Allan Lichtman states that this key is certainly true, which means that Kamala Harris has no real challenger. This is the major problem. There is no point in history in which a candidate, and in this case being Harris, quote unquote, won the primary without a single vote. Without a single vote, guys. She was simply handpicked by the delegates instead of the votes. Let me repeat that once again. She was handpicked by the delegates instead of the actual voters. Keyword here, delegates instead of the voters. And the rest of the Democratic Party, including the voters, has to suck up to a candidate that is not legitimate. And that is exactly why key number 2 is not up to date with reality. He is clearly showing his bias and dishonest, and it's kind of misleading and, a way actually. And now let's move on to key number 4, as you can see right here, which is no major third party. He says that this is certainly true in favor of Kamala Harris. You can technically say he is wrong because this is also out of touch with society as well, just like key number 2. He completely rejects the fact and ignores certain, events that's been happening throughout this election cycle that justifiably should change the keys. Allan Lichtman says that RFK being in the race helps Donald Trump, which is false. Every single data consistently shows RFK hurting Trump when Kamala Harris is in the race. Now with Biden, it was a little bit different. It was certainly hurting Biden, but ever since Kamala Harris was installed as the candidate, she benefited from RFK's presence in the race. Yet again, Lichtman is ignoring RFK's endorsement of Trump, which literally can end the election in favor of the former president Donald Trump. Therefore, this key is also flawed because he is ignoring the endorsement and not, he didn't just drop out. He literally endorsed Trump. It's not just dropping out, And now let's talk about key number 5 and 6 together because they're both talking about the economy. Strong long-term and short-term economy keys are favoring Harris according to Allan Lichtman. And he specifically uses GDP growth, which is not useful whatsoever, which makes both of these keys absolutely delusional. The actual voters and people do not feel this way at all. It's called public perception, which will hurt Harris in the long run. And even in 1992, Lichtman had to adjust these keys by using actual polling data to determine if voters like the economy or not. But now all of a sudden, it's based off of the GDP growth, which everyday citizens don't care for at all. The vast majority of the polls show voters trust Trump overwhelmingly over Vice President Kamala Harris on the issue of the economy specifically. If you go on RCP, Real Clear Politics, the Democrats, or Biden specifically, has a net negative 19 approval rating percent, underwater by 19 points on the economy alone, if you take a look at the rating on RCP. And as for key number 7, it's also a little tricky, which is, it's basically major policy change. Even if there's a major policy change in the Biden administration, it does not necessarily mean that people like that change, which honestly realistically hurts Harris. If I'm Allan Lichtman, I'd base this key off of whether the nation is headed into the wrong or right direction type of polling data, which all shows bad signs for Democrats. Apparently, it's certainly going in Harris's favor according to Allan Lichtman, which is outrageous to me. And lastly, I want to quickly go over key number 8, which is basically the tipping point key that decides this entire tracker. As of right now, Lichtman says there's no social unrest, which you can agree or maybe not. It really depends. For this to flip, obviously something would have to be as large as BLM were to happen, which is it's not right now. But the iffy part about this is that we had a little assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which does not normally happen, which is why, Lichtman should adjust these keys, but won't because he's extremely stubborn which is clear, it shows his clear bias towards the Democrats. And when I say bias, I'm literally not kidding. He literally said that if Trump wins, then believe what he says because he will do those things. And not in a good way, by the way. Those are his words. Also, we have, had some pro-Palestinian protests, which is a slight factor that can hurt the Gen Z vote from Harris or take away some of that support. And then also the fact that a lot of people are not able to get jobs and there are a ton of mass layoffs is also considered social unrest as well. High prices is also a major thing. Majority of the jobs that were quote-unquote created during the Biden administration were revised and were fake. They literally were caught using fake job numbers. All of these things, which also could be taken, for account as a scandal, by the way, and another thing that could be considered a scandal for key number 9, which I did not go over, we're going to skip, but I just want to, quickly go back to that, is that basically Biden was literally covered up. His health was literally covered up. And the Democrats have to cover up for him, which is also why that could be considered a scandal as well. All of these things count as social unrest. So that's all I have to say about the keys that I just went over. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comment section down below. And if I'm right, this is basically a rant. One last final reminder is to subscribe, click the bell so you don't miss out on my content. Press the like button, share this video. If you are interested, we have memberships. You can find a link to that in the description section. That's pretty much it. Thank you everyone for watching.